What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Moose Milk Podcast. This is episode 99. 99, that's right, our last two-digit episode.
Damn, I don't even think I realized that was our last. I was 99.
Yeah, buddy, we're making it. Like, we're big time now. Once you hit three digits, you're big time.
That's amazing. I never knew that we were going to be so big time.
Oh, we're so
Thank
successful.
You to all two of you that are here.
Jordan from Canada, thank you for shouting us out here 10 minutes ago. I'm just seeing it now. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Jordan. What up, man?
How are you, my friend? How is things?
I'm okay. I had a very busy week, so I didn't get to do really a whole lot of watching. Just kind of got through the bare minimum.
Yeah,
I watched Bad Batch on Thursday night, and then I watched Last of Us last night. So.
Yeah, well, like you said, you had a lot to do.
I had a lot to do.
You pulled some late nights there.
Very late nights, yes. I'll be able to share with the world.
Soon.
Maybe not next week. I'd love to say next week, but I don't know if it'll be next week. So, Marcus, he's here too. What up, man?
Dog.
I like how he just says dog, and it just there he is. What up, Finn?
He's dancing. He's having a good time. Yeah. Cheers. Everybody, I appreciate you joining us. I can't wait for you to show what you did. I think it's a lot of people are going to be very pumped about it, and obviously, when you're ready to reveal it, I'll be your number one cheerleader there with the pom poms.
Yes, I love it when you wear that costume.
Yeah, well, we all do. I got the ass that goes on for days, so
That's funny. How are you? How was you went to a party tonight?
Yeah, I had one of my good friends had her birthday party tonight, so I was at a murder mystery party.
Oh, cool! That's pretty fun. Was it fun?
Yeah, it was good. It was they usually do this like once every year. They for her birthday usually they do a different one every year, obviously, and it'd be weird if they did the same one every year and it was the same murder every single year. Yeah, I guess there's a couple companies you can go to that
is it Ryan?
It's right again. God damn it. But it was a 70s theme party. I was the only one that didn't dress up, obviously, because I'm lame like that, and I just didn't have the money to spend on a big fucking costume and shit. But
you should have just wrote 1970s on your forehead with a Sharpie.
That would have been brilliant.
I know.
So everybody had big wigs and 70s themed flared costumes and shit like that. Yeah, it was great. And we ran into an old friend of ours, two old friends of ours, Chris and Sarah. So shout out to them.
Yeah, and I haven't seen those guys for freaking ever, man.
Yeah, it was weird running into them, and we talked a lot about your old band days and
the good old band days,
shows together and pop punk. And I told them how you're still super into pop punk and still listening to Blink and all that shit. And Sarah was like, "Hell yeah, so am I." So
it
was great.
I feel like Chris probably does too, right? Yeah, Chris doesn't strike me as a guy who changes very much. He's probably the same old Chris.
He's still drumming. He's still a funny dude. And, we talked a little bit about he's setting up a home studio and shit for drumming. And, it was weird running into him. It was something I didn't expect. So it was nice kind of reminiscing there. And,
So those guys are great. I love both those. Those two people are fantastic people. I remember because when me and Chris started playing in a band together, I told him, I was like, for the longest time, I've not liked you at all. And then we started playing in the band together. I was like, Chris is good shit. I don't know. I think it was just I wasn't even band bad blood. It was just
sure.
We just, I don't know. We had different, I don't know.
Well, he even said, he's like, Matt is one of the only people I know that will always give you his direct, honest opinion on whatever you're playing. And he's like, there was times we'd play shit and Matt would be like, that's garbage, don't play that. Yeah. And he's like, I always appreciated that about Matt because you knew exactly what you were getting out of him. Like, he was going to be honest with you. And I was like, that is Matt, 100%.
Yeah, that is me.
But, we talked about Mitch and Daryl and,
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
Daryl tried to start a band with me recently. He was really? Because he wanted to do kind of something like Postal Servicey, not necessarily in sound, but more in style where
the idea
would
of it.
Something, then send it to me and then whatever. And I was like, look, man, I just don't have the time. I mean, I have the time, but it's just dedicated to other stuff, right?
To commit to a band is a lot. You know?
Yeah, I just don't have the time. My goal is to, it was originally on my list of things I wanted to get done this year, but I reprioritized. I kind of wanted to like get back into writing music just a little bit because I want to do music for my page, right? Like I'd like to be able to just do like some kind of a theme song or something, and I don't know, but I just I have other things I want to prioritize now that I've been playing with all these people who are using like 3D modeling and stuff. I'm like, fuck, I should start learning that. I could see that being very useful in my hobby. So
yeah, no, I mean, you're a great musician. I wish you would do more music. Thanks, but I totally understand that it's a time commitment, and there's only so much time in the day where you could commit to different hobbies. I mean, the more hobbies you get, the harder it is to give
them 100%. Yeah. Well, like the thing with the music though too is it's like you said, it's more than just like learning it again. It's like learning it and then staying in practice really is.
Yeah. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Like I said, if you ever want to write something, I'll use whatever you write for the intro to this thing. So
sounds good. I'm gonna make the worst song ever and be like, you said
it, no matter what. I don't care. You can write anything. It's gonna sound good to me. Yes, girl. Write whatever you want, baby.
Yes, girl. Ooh, these are the nice talks. We like to talk like this in the microphone. ASMR.
It was a good time. It was a good night, and it was nice running into them. So shout out to them.
That's dope. Yeah, that'd be so cool to run into those guys.
Hell yeah.
Maybe when I'm in town next, but
yeah, for sure.
Chances are when I'm in town next, it'll be a very short visit because I'm going to split it up between Fan Expo, Windsor, and Waterloo to see Craig. So
totally. It's always hard when you only have a very limited time in the city and you have 500 people you want to go see. It's you got such short amount of time, so I get it.
Funny enough, there's not that many people in Windsor I want to see anymore. So
I know, but you want to prioritize your mom and you know whatever. I know a lot of Kate's family moved out there, but
I don't really have anyone on her side to see without her. If she wasn't here, I wouldn't go. I'd realistically just hang out with my mom.
Yeah, well, that's
maybe
the
see
most
Mike
important person
or something, but
So how was Bad Batch this week?
Bad Batch was another. They're not bad. The thing is, they're not bad. They're good little isolated stories, but it's not like there's no overarching like arc right now. So like, it's just like random stories that don't really tie together, and it's like, it's whatever.
I thought people were really liking this week's episode. I thought I'd seen some shit online that people.
I did too. And then when I watched it, I was confused. I was like, why? Like it was still cool. Like I'm not saying like none of them are bad. They're all good. They're just
they're just not hitting it out of the park for you.
Yeah, they're just not like connecting with me. Like the first season I really liked. There was a lot of stuff. It started strong. It tied into the prequels and like it gave more history to Kanan, who's like one of the Star Wars rebels, which I love.
Yep.
So like in the first episode of season 1, like it was it hooked me, right? And there was like a lot of stuff that kind of pulled me in more and more. But now that they're kind of established and, they're just kind of like, it's kind of like you finish a movie and you end on a strong note and then you catch up with the heroes and they're just kind of going through the grind. Nothing's really important. Nothing's really like altering anything really. They're just kind of doing odd jobs and like, that's it. So I don't know. That's fine. But like, I don't really care. To be honest, it's not that interesting to me. Like it's just kind of it's there.
Maybe it will gain ground.
Maybe, hopefully, it will. I'm sure it will. So,
we sit.
He's going crazy.
He doesn't want to sit on my lap. That's why.
Poor little buddy. But if you let him down, he'll bark. So
exactly.
I've been listening to a lot of music lately.
Nice.
I've listening to a lot of Alkaline Trio, and I was like, maybe I should give Crimson another try because. It seems like it's their most popular album, right? On Spotify, it's like right at the top.
That's because of me.
So I'm like, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just give it a try because if I all of a sudden get this like undiscovered gem that like I forgot that was good, like it'd be cool to have like something like good to like get into, right?
Totally.
Yeah, well, it wasn't good. I still didn't like it.
You asshole! You had me all hyped up.
It's so like it's so like not Alkaline Trio. Like it's
like such a good solid album. I can't
agree. I'm not saying there aren't some jams on there. Like I really like Sadie. I really like Mercy Me.
Mercy Me is great too. Yes.
I liked Time to Waste now, but I remember hating Time to Waste back in the day. But now I like it.
I love that album so much. It's so good.
I hate it. It's so not good comparatively.
We always have opposite opinions on so many albums. I mean, you love that second Panic album, and I fucking hate it. Like,
I love it. I feel like I'm like one of the very few people who like that second Panic album.
Well, including the members of the band. So
yeah, it's overall, it's mostly disliked, I would say.
Yeah,
but I mean, in fairness, how do you go from first album to second album?
Totally,
like they're literally different bands. Like they're in no way the same.
Totally. And I mean, shout out to Panic. They broke up this week. So
they did. That's sad. So basically just Brendan. But yeah.
Brendan was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Bye.
Yep. But still sucks though. He'll come back. He'll do it again eventually.
Yeah, totes. So, what else? Anything else you're listening to?
So yeah, I've been listening to Blink, mostly self-titled, but and I've also been listening to a lot of Midtown's first album. What's it called? Save the World, Lose the World.
Save the Girl, Lose the World.
Save the World, yeah. Save the World, Lose the Girl. Yeah.
I love Forget What You Know, but
I do too.
That's a great.
I love all of Midtown's albums equally. Like I have a hard time picking. Like I always seem to end up going back to that one you just said.
Forget What You Know.
Forget What You Know. But I do like the second one a lot too, and like even like this first one, it's very nostalgic for me. So
nice.
Yeah. I finished Always Sunny finally. They only go up to season 13 on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I finished it. Once it ended, I was like, oh, it's done. So then I just moved over to The Simpsons and resumed.
Nice.
Resumed with The Simpsons. I think I'm somewhere in the middle of season 4 or something. But yeah, I might yeah, I agree, Jordan. Jordan from Canada says, oh man, Panic was really cool. Yeah. It's funny though, because I was talking to my buddy Craig today and we were talking about Panic, and I'm like, it's funny because you know, the way I consume music is so different now. Like I used to like albums, right? Yeah. I asked them because like we talked about this recently. Like, do you listen to full albums or are you more of a shuffle kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
And I was saying that like I love old Panic albums. I'll listen to them as albums, but like the last two, it's just like I like know like 3 or 4 songs that like I like, and that's kind of it, right? And it's like,
but I also think that bands realized that people were picking out the singles and only listening to the singles. So I think a lot of bands stopped caring about like the album experience necessarily. Like, I don't think bands are putting the same thought into like how to like
put together an album.
Yeah. Like, we got to make sure this song's first following into this. Like, I think a lot of bands now are just like throw the 12 songs on there and people are going to listen to the 4 songs we put out as singles. And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think the last Panic album's probably the weakest album he's put out in a long time. Like I like the 2 previous albums before that way more, but
I kind of have been off Panic for 2. Like I kind of got into this last one a little bit. Like
there's a couple songs on it that are good.
Yeah, there's a handful of songs that are pretty catchy, but the one before it I didn't get into at all. Like
I liked it a lot
off of it. So yeah, the last one I was really into was the one with LA Devotee and I can't remember what it's called. I'm really good at this.
I know we're both terrible at remembering songs.
We're doing great. We're doing great. I'm going to look it up though because I'm going to give answers. I'm here to give answers. Death of the Bachelor.
Yeah, that's a great album. Yeah,
it's a good album. But Pray for the Wicked, I skipped.
I like Pray for the Wicked a lot, but I mean, like their first album is always going to be my favorite album by them.
Yeah, I like the first album too. I kind of like all of them though, to be honest. I really like I like Vices and Virtues a lot. Like a lot. It's one of my favorites. Jordan from Canada says it's a really fascinating comment. Where are you at, Jordan? What do you do? Do you do singles? Do you do albums? I
feel the younger people than us, like I'd say people still in their 20s or younger,
are probably more singles.
All single based. I don't think like even people that I like talk to that are like, oh, I haven't listened to a full album in like years. Like I only just go like, oh, I like this song. Okay, that song's over. I switch it to the like, and I'm diehard album guy. Like I will never not listen to a full album.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I can consume music. I hate shuffle. Like hate it. So
it hates
I don't know.
You.
Oh, I'm sure it does. But like,
same.
If I'm like working out or something like that, and I mean like I work out I mean, look at
all
me.
the time.
I don't work
all
out
the time.
But I understand the shuffle for that experience of like, oh, I'm doing something like I want a lot of energy for, and I don't want like a downbeat song cutting off in the middle of my workout or whatever. Like I get like, hey, I want something that's like upbeat continually. So like I'm gonna put on 20 songs and on shuffle or whatever and like go. Like I get that aspect or whatever, going for a run, going for a bike, whatever you're doing. But if I'm like at home, like I'd way rather put on a vinyl record and listen to a full album than not, I don't know.
Creep.
Yeah, that's me. Creep.
I guess it depends. Like to me, the album piece is more nostalgia based now. Like I don't know. Like if it's just like shuffle everything, then I like it to be a little bit more then I usually like something more specific. Like I usually take, if there's a song that I've been listening to, I put it on one playlist and it's got like, 1,000 songs on it now. And it's just like, I shuffle through that because I know like there's a pretty good chance that if something comes on, I'm not going to skip it. Totally. What I hate shuffling is when I used to have my iPad pod that had like, 70,000 songs on it or whatever.
You'd get like 30 songs in a row. You
couldn't shuffle that because it's just like skip. Totally. Like that's not fun. But when you don't have to do any skipping and you're just like remembering stuff, you're like, oh, I remember I was really into this a couple years ago. That's cool.
Totally.
Then I like it. So what's Jordan saying? He's saying, oh man, lately singles, but the album is amazing and I still respect and enjoy the art of making an album.
I don't know. To me, like, I don't know. I was having this discussion with my dad the other day. It's like, the internet was supposed to be like the savior of music, right? Like when we like MySpace era, right before like Napster and shit got really huge. It was like, oh, like we're finding all these new bands because of the internet. Like MySpace, like Panic at the Disco or whatever that got famous from MySpace or internet culture in general. These bands that you would never have found otherwise blew up like crazy. And everybody was like, oh man, the internet's going to save like the music industry. Like everybody's going to find music because of this. Now this is, instead of radio, people are going to go online and listen to this shit. And then we got Napster and LimeWire and all this shit that just destroyed the music industry completely. And now nobody makes money through music. Mm-hmm. I think like the way to get that back is like bring back the album experience. You have to make music special again. Like putting out singles and stuff just makes everything tossable. Like everything's throwaway.
It's digestible, right? It's just like it's in and out kind of thing. And
to make it special to me is like put extra thought into how your album's curated and like album art and like liner notes and pictures and like posters, whatever. Tie that all in on a nice like CD, vinyl, whatever. Even digitally, you can do bonuses through like Spotify and shit like that. That like, why not have like videos accompany every song? You can put videos on Spotify now. Like,
I like that.
Like, add a making of at the end of the album that's like has like a special like video from the band of like, this is our thought process behind. So like, it's not going to appeal to everybody, but at least have the option there where maybe you get people pulled in that way again and it like make music interesting again. I don't know. I'm going on a rant, but yeah.
They're like, this is where we circle jerk before we wrote the first single.
I mean, that might be a step too far, but I mean, I know they get you as a fan right away.
Marcus, you said I started listening to albums a bit more. I usually don't though. So Marcus, I'm pretty sure you're like 24, 25, if my memory serves me correct. I might be wrong on that, but I feel like that is about right. So yeah, so there you go. There's the next day. So he said usually doesn't though. See?
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm definitely in the minority now, but like, I think it's just because the era we grew up in that like I'd throw on a CD and that would be my CD for months until I could afford another one. And I would play that CD to death and I would know like the track listing and the albums and everything like the back of my hand. So like, all of a sudden now when I put on whatever, Our Lady Peace is Clumsy, I know right away, like, oh, okay, this song's coming next. And then when it jumps to random song W by whoever, I'm like, like I was expecting, whatever, fucking
what a letdown.
Automatic Flowers to come on next, and it's not, and bombs, So
this would be awesome. Jordan says a documentary on popular music and the rise of Spotify would be incredible. I'm sure we will eventually. Like,
yeah, I mean, like they did all those documentaries on Woodstock recently, and like I always thought 100% that we were going to get a Woodstock again, like 2019 or whatever, like 20 years after 99. All right, cool, we'll do another Woodstock, and it just seems like that's never going to happen. But
yeah,
I would love like a documentary based on like the rise and fall of the music industry, and like go really in depth about like, especially for young people, like how music changed over like the 90s to the 2000s is like, it's fascinating. It
is fascinating. All of it, honestly, just music as a whole. And like even looking at his music in history, like, like we both watched the Beatles documentaries, and it was long, man. It was like 10 hours. It was a fucking commitment.
Yep.
But honestly, like, it's crazy to see like Beatles hits, like them just fumbling into them. They're just fumbling around, and all of a sudden they're like, you hear it and you're just like, whoa, that's like where it starts. Like,
totally,
it's fucking like pretty surreal to like experience, like to be able to watch that.
Like, and how quickly they were putting them out. Like,
yeah, true.
The turnaround on these albums for the Beatles was like every 6 months they were having another album, maybe a little bit more than that, but like, generally it was like 2 albums a year for 5 years, and that was it. Like, that was their career. And it's like, now you wait 4 years between albums for a band, and it's like, and there's 5 songs on it I liked, but the rest of the album was kind of it's like, that's a bummer.
Jordan says, I do think the golden age was with records and vinyl. There's a culture of setting up the record and attending to it, setting up the album art just right, and having some wine or a beverage.
I totally agree. That's how I consume music, is like, I have about, I don't know, 100 vinyl records now, about around that area. I mean, I'm still collecting, but I like the sitting at home, the ambience of it, of
the experience.
Like, turning off the lights, lighting some candles, having a glass of wine or whiskey or whatever.
I want to say the most inappropriate thing right now, but I'm trying not to.
You can say whatever you want, baby.
I'm not going to. That's funny. Marcus says, I feel like Vox or Company Man would make YouTube videos on that topic. Don't know about a full-length documentary, but it just came to mind.
Yeah, I mean, we're like 25 minutes into the show. We should definitely get into what we
you still haven't even talked. Okay, we'll wrap this up pretty quick. We can go a little over if we have to. That's okay.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, speaking of the music industry, I watched a bunch of wrestling documentaries that you recommended from Wrestling with Andy. So I fell down a rabbit hole with that this week, and I've just been obsessed with wrestling this whole week. I've been watching fucking documentaries there. I've been watching like old fucking Royal Rumbles and shit like that. I know Royal Rumble was tonight. I'm gonna try to hop on that tomorrow sometime and watch that. But
nice.
Yeah, I've been in wrestling mode, and it feels weird. I know you did some wrestling figures and everything like that, and like, right behind you there.
I set them up. I was sick of them being in a drawer. It's temporary. They're not staying there, but until I have room, I'm like, I just want them to be displayed. I like want to see them. I love them, and I want to play with them. So I took the time yesterday. I was supposed to be working last night, and instead I was like, I'm going to set up these wrestlers. Oh, Finn.
No Randy Orton, I noticed though.
Well, they pretty much stop at like 2002 probably. So
that was for you, Brian Giles. The whole way home after the party, he's like, at some point during the podcast, bring up Randy Orton to Matt, and I'll know that you were talking about me.
That's so funny.
Anyway, so besides that, I watch a lot of wrestling, and then I hammered through another season of Friends.
Nice. What season are you on now?
I'm on 7. 6 was by far the weakest season of the show. That season sucks.
How many seasons in total is there?
10. I'm almost done. I'm like, I don't know. I
can imagine as you get closer to the end, the episode counts get lower, right?
Yeah, they're down to, I think, 20 a season for like 8 and 9, and then I think they do like 18 the last season or something like that. But
that's still a lot.
No, it is. But I mean, it was network television in the 90s, right? Or early 2000s.
I guess.
See, Jordan from Canada. Royal Rumble 2023 just wrapped. Bloodline is the storyline of the future. Incredible storyline worthy of HBO.
Is that what you've been watching? Is that the Wyatt?
No.
Wyatt,
so I've been watching Bray Wyatt stuff all week because I find that absolutely fascinating, the storyline that they're doing right now with him. I've seen a little bit of the Bloodline stuff too. I think that's separate. I think that's the Roman Reigns stuff, right? I might be wrong. I'm not like super familiar with modern wrestling at all, so but yeah, don't spoil anything for me. I'm gonna try to watch the Royal Rumble tonight or tomorrow.
I think I saw who won already, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, the Bray Wyatt stuff's fascinating, man. Like, it's very Undertaker, Kane era shit, and
Mankind too, right? Because it's like multiple personalities and stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Mankind, it's a little bit of Undertaker, it's a little bit of like that era of like gothic, like undertones of like, you know, Undertaker being all like demonic and shit. Like he's using that kind of similar thing, but he's also using like really weird like Pee Wee Herman style like vignettes during like his promos and stuff. And it's just really creative and funny. And yeah, I don't know, it's super fascinating. It made me want to watch Royal Rumble, so that I give him props for that.
Nice. Yeah. That's pretty cool. What else did you watch? There's one more thing I started watching, and I'll finish talking about it next week. But I half watched You People, that new Jonah Hill movie.
Oh, is it any good?
So far, yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
I'll have to check it out
for sure, but funny and good. I'll fill you guys. I'll tell everyone more about it next week because I only got halfway tonight. So.
Yeah, I was gonna watch it, and then I was like, I got some like pretty negative reviews, so I was like, maybe really? It's not very good. Yeah.
So far, I like it. It's funny, and it's like it's a fun way to play with like the whole race thing. So it's awesome. Like Jewish and Arabic.
Oh, okay.
It's fun.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out. I think that's pretty much it. I started playing Dead Space yesterday. I streamed that a little bit over on Twitch, and nice. Yeah, that's fun. I only got a couple hours in, and I've been really busy with everything this week, so I haven't really had a ton of time to play games. But I'm going to dive into that more, and then we got playoff football tomorrow, so I'm going to be watching 6 hours of football tomorrow, and
going to be watching the foosball.
See, here we go. Jordan from McKenna. Bray Wyatt's incredible creative work for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
It's the most creative angle I've seen in wrestling in probably like 20 years. So
nice.
It's pulling me back in. But other than that, obviously just Last of Us, which I've been absolutely obsessing with the entire week. So we can dive into that if you're ready.
So good. So good.
Spoilers, obviously, for episode 2 of The Last of Us. As I said last week, I've played the games. I won't spoil anything major from the game for the show for the people that haven't seen or haven't played the game, but we will be spoiling episode 2. So if you have not seen episode 2 yet, be prepared.
Let us spoil it for you.
Indeed. What did you think?
We're really good at it. You'll only get the fact that it's good. Like, we were pretty horrible with all the details. So
hey, I was good last week. I knew a lot.
You were. It's different because like you have a passion for this property, right?
It's totally. So it's my thing.
Yeah. I fucking loved it, man. Honestly, like right at the beginning, I was saying to Ryan, at the beginning, it starts with like in 2003, and like they bring in this woman who studies. Is it mushrooms or fungus?
I think she was like what like the actual disease is like a fungi disease, but she was like a epidemiologist or something. Like I don't know what her actual science base was in the show.
Whatever.
But
she specializes in
like transmittable diseases, basically.
Yeah. So they start with this thing where like this woman goes in and it's in Argentina or something, and like and she's like, they ask her to look at this person who basically got bitten, and the long story short, they're like, we need you to make like a vaccine or a cure or something, right? And she's like, the only way to stop this is to just bomb the whole city, like just bomb it all, like. And as Kate was sitting with me, and then like as soon as that happened, she was just like, she looked at me, she's like, I can't watch this. I'm just like, she's like, it's gonna give me nightmares. It's fucking creepy as hell. And then like
the thought of somebody in the know saying that, of like, there's no way to stop this.
The only thing is to kill everyone. That's fucking nuts.
It terrifies me that could be like an actual meeting between like a military and like, you know, a scientist or whatever, and be like, you're fucked. There's no way to stop this. Like that's the most extreme measure you could possibly do, yet it still may not even
do what it has to do.
Yeah, it may not be result in what we need it to result in. Like,
it's fucked, man. Like, it seriously, the premise of this show is fucked. Like,
and the way
it's scary.
The way she says, like, "Can I leave now and be with my family?" is like even more horrible. Like, she knows that it's the end, and she just wants to go home. And it's like, oh fuck. And even like the military guy was like, "Did you find who bit her?" And the guy's like, "No, like, we're missing like 10 people right now." Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Crazy, man.
That's not in the game. Like, that's totally made for the show. That whole opening segment. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, really
good. But yeah, the whole episode was just like, my hands were sweaty the whole time, man. Honestly, like,
tense as fuck,
fucking crazy. Like, I was the whole time. I was just like, oh.
It's so tense. Like, just the idea of like, we've been in these buildings before and we've done this route before, but everything changes every time we're here, and like. Oh, this path is no longer available to us because a building's crumbled in front of it and we have to change the route we were taking or whatever. Like, the thought of like, we don't know what's around the next corner. It could be anything, is like horrifying. Like, it's like, I could die in 2 seconds from now. Like, I don't know, you know?
Yeah, man. It's it's so fucking well done. And like, all the actors in it are just like great. I can't remember. So it's Joel, is Tessa or Tess?
Tess, yeah.
And
Ellie.
They're all three of them are just great little actors, man. They're just like, I mean,
oh yeah, I love that they're already like, they built that relationship a little bit between Tess and Ellie, of like Tess finally kind of understanding that, like, shit, Joel, like, she's been bit and we stayed overnight with her and she hasn't turned. Like, this is a solution. This is a possible cure or whatever we're looking for. Like, she could be the answer. I love like the seeing that slow like breadcrumb drip of like, oh, like, I kind of believe now. I'm choosing to believe, you know?
It's I like I guess so. The whole episode basically is just them kind of starting their journey, right? Is that kind of like, that's pretty much what it just covers, is they kind of go through the city or they go to the museum or something? Is that what it is?
Yeah, well,
I don't remember the specifics. I just remember being like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get Ellie to a Firefly base, right? That they were told about from Marlena in the last episode, is that there's a Firefly base at this location. This is where you have to bring Ellie to, and it's all within Boston. So like, they know the route, they know how to get there. It's just a matter of getting her there. But just like the small moments of the scenery where you're seeing nature kind of like overtake entire buildings, entire vehicles, the vines over top of things, the growth of like the mushrooms and shit. It's so well done and so like gorgeous looking, but it's also such a horrifying idea of like, humans have only been gone 20 years and this is how the world looks now. It's fucking crazy.
Boston, oh
no. But on top of that, like, it's just basically like, the start of even just Ellie eating that chicken sandwich and seeing the jealousy between like, oh, we're eating this shitty old beef jerky and she's got a fucking chicken sandwich. Like, I love that. I just thought it was awesome.
Yeah. It's I love the dynamic between the three of them, and I even like more so how it developed even just through this episode. Like, you can already see like they're starting to like gain trust in Ellie, and like, so yeah, it's like, it's good to see.
I love to like the music notes that they're using in the show. I'm trying to grab my dog, but he's being a dick. See, hold on. The music they use in the show is all from the game for the most part too. Like,
oh, nice!
It's the same composer. Cool. If anybody hasn't listened to the album, it's on Spotify. The actual soundtrack to the game, and it's fucking awesome. It's one of my favorite game soundtracks ever.
I'll chill you to the boner.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'll just keep talking about it, even though I don't have any. The problem is like, it doesn't seem like the story really moves forward that much, but we finally get to see the infected people, I guess, and they kind of like lay down some ground rules for like, you know, what happens with the infected. He kind of explains to Ellie, like, you can step in one place and like wires that come, like not wires, but like they spread across the ground. So like if you step in one spot, like all of them could wake up in another spot and know exactly where you are. And like they can't see, right? That's the thing, is they can't see, but they can like hear and they can feel. And
so that's all made for the show.
None
of that is in the game. Like, so in the game, it's air spores. It's spores from the actual plants that infect the air. They have to like to go in buildings and shit like that. They wear like gas masks over their face, so that they don't breathe in the spores. They changed that for the show because they said
they didn't want to cover their faces, probably.
That, and they said it's like really hard to show air spores on a show. Like,
sure,
how do you show the fear of that? Like, so they decided to change how the zombies work or the infected work. I don't know if for sure if it's all of the music from the show. It's like the opening theme song is from the game,
right.
And I know that it's the same composer, so I think a lot of it is taken from the video game.
Similarities, probably
very right? Similar. Yeah. There might be some alterations, so like don't 100% quote me on it, but like it's a phenomenal soundtrack. I highly recommend it. It's on Spotify. I believe his name is Gustavo Santinella, I think is his last name. He's a really, really good composer.
You're a really good composer.
Thanks. But yeah, so like the way like them stepping around like the ground like tendrils or whatever of the plants and whatever, that's all made for the show, and like terrifying.
Yeah, it's so is the tendrils that like, so I know I'm jumping to the end here, but how they have them that come out of their mouth and stuff, is that made for all of the game too? Or is that from the game?
No, that's made for the show. Like
cool.
So in the game, like getting the spores is a way to get infected, and then obviously getting bitten or like scratched or whatever from the things. But like there's no like makeout scene in the game with tendril mouth. Like the tendril thing, even at the beginning when that scientist is like pulling,
when she pulls it out of the mouth and it like reaches for her, it's like
I did not like that at all. Yeah, that's all. So like in the game, like they're not like alarmed like they are in the show, where like, oh, I stepped on this spore and like a horde of them come running. That's made for the show. Like there's not a scene where like 100 of them come running at you. They're just.
Do you think they do that to kind of like, because I mean in the game it might be overwhelming to try to get to doing what you're doing while you have everything on your ass, but in this case they might use it to kind of push them forward a little bit and make things go a little quicker? Do you think that's a possibility, or do you think it's just because it makes more sense versus this air thing, like you said?
I think it's partly both. Like it's the game is more sound based, right? So like you're doing a lot of sneaking because you don't want to alarm the clickers. Right. Very similar to what they showed in the show. Right. Is like the clickers all hunt via sound. Like they use echolocation and the clicking noises to bounce it off things. They're hunting you because the mushroom has taken over their entire face. They are blind, completely blind, but they hunt via sound. So in the game, like as Joel, you are sneaking around a lot. You're on, like your knees or kind of like crawling almost around like low down around like bookshelves and shit within the game to sneak around and get away from people. Fucking my computer's fucking popping up shit. But yeah, so they kept that very similar, and like in the game, that museum scene is like 1-for-1 from the game. Like you're in that museum, you're sneaking around. The layout of that museum's very similar to the game. There's 2 clickers in that room that you're trying to fucking avoid, and like right from the game.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was awesome. And like just like the game, Joel's a terrible shot. He missed that fucking clicker like 7 times. I was like, God damn, boy, hit that thing.
Jordan from Canada says, when it comes to adaptations, be it MCU or anything, do you guys prefer it to be straight from the source material, verbatim, or do you like things deviating to an extent from the original medium?
For me, it just depends. I mean, it depends what the. I mean, I think like for this, okay, I know The Last of Us very, very well. I've played the game multiple times. If it was 1-to-1 for the game to the show, I think I would have been. The show's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I think I would have been like, oh, there's nothing surprising or like revolutionary about this. I've already seen this and played this. I like that they're using small changes to make it better, improve it, and give more backstory to characters. And they're not altering the characters; they're just
adding more to it.
Yeah. If like it was like I don't know, like MCU stuff, most of the changes I think just make sense for the medium. Like it's very hard to adapt a comic book direct to a movie.
Actors,
it just depends. I think,
especially with the MCU stuff, like, you know, I used to be like phase 1 and 2, I was definitely more like wanting it to be closer to source material. But now that they've kind of embraced it and we do get more kind of out to lunch costumes and stuff like that, now I just like want it to be its own thing, because it's like I don't want to go into these things knowing what it is because I've read the comic book. Like, it's just like a lot of the fun of these things are like the big things that happen and
surprises.
The surprises, right? Like, I just like, those are the kind of things I look forward to, because you don't really anticipate them. So when you go in knowing what's going to happen, it's not as fun to experience it when it actually does.
Yeah. And I mean, we could go down a huge rabbit hole here, but like Jurassic Park.
Jordan.
No, it's a great question.
Jurassic Park's a great example.
Jurassic Park's a great example of like that movie is very different than the book. They changed a shit ton for the movie.
Yes, they did.
But the movie's very good and the book's very good. They both work very well. And then you look at something like, say, Dark Phoenix Saga from the comic book to X-Men, and it's terrible.
Pick your choice. Either one. They're both bad.
Right. And then you go like Fight Club the movie and Fight Club the book.
Very different.
One to one. No, they're almost exactly the same. They're very, very similar. And it works well too, because the movie's really well done, and the book I think would be really hard to adapt. And David Fincher did it very, very well.
I remember I read that book, but like it was like a long time ago.
There's a few minor alterations, but for the most part, it's pretty much 1-to-1.
That's like Watchmen too, from a graphic novel. There's one big storyline that they took out that kind of played throughout the graphic novel, but and then they changed the entire ending is totally different too.
Yeah, and I mean, like, people have a lot of complaints with Harry Potter too, right? Is like massive alterations in that. I know, like, some of my best friends are huge Game of Thrones fans, and like the end of that series was not adapted from the book, but the beginning of it was. And people hate the last season of that show because of how bad it was and didn't give justice to a lot of the characters that they loved. Yeah. So it just really depends on who's adapting it, how they're adapting it, the actors you have involved, the writers you have involved, and how different and drastic you're changing it. But
well said.
Thanks.
Way to go, Flavor Flav.
Yeah, I love this episode. Like the whole clicker thing I thought was amazing. The way their noises,
terrifying.
The clicking noises,
it just makes it terrifying.
Fucking awesome. And I guess they got the actual voice actress or actor, I'm not positive, from the game to do that, the clicking.
Oh, so nice. So it's like actually the same again. That's pretty cool.
Really, really cool. The clickers look spot on. They're exactly pulled from the game. Like, it's
very cool.
Yeah.
When they rolled up and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And then we get the scene of fucking Tess getting bit.
It's funny because I actually didn't even notice she got bit. Was it on screen that when she did? Oh, okay, so that makes sense then.
No, it's the same as the game is. I mean, it's pretty quick, but you don't know she's bit, and then she obviously reveals that she's bit.
Right. You bit.
Yeah, and did you see her dying this early in the show, or were you pretty surprised?
As I was watching that episode, I was like, I wonder when Tess is gonna die, because I feel like she's not in it for long, and then she died at the end, and I was like, oh, but didn't expect it to be that fast. I kind of assumed maybe the next, because remember we were talking about it before, and they said episode 3 is like a crazy one.
Yeah.
So I kind of assumed that she was probably gonna die in that one, but then she died at the end, and I was like, oh, fuck me.
All so they definitely changed that scene as well from the game. In the game, you're getting a bunch of military men that are like kind of encroaching on that building or whatever, and she decides to like sacrifice herself basically to let Joel and Ellie get away. So in this,
I guess that part still happened.
It is, but I mean, in this, it's infected.
Just different. Yeah.
And they got the gross tendril makeout scene that.
I love it, but it's gross. But
it's so gross.
It's like as soon as the infected goes up to goes like mouth to mouth with her, he opens his mouth and these like little like fibers just like come out and like go into hers. It's like so fucked up.
It's so fucked up. Like I guess people were like, why would she like sit there and make out it? But like I guess their idea.
She might have already been turning too, though, right? Like she kind of was already indicating like she was tweaking out a little bit. So
yeah, that was their explanation, is that she's already turned. She's already part of like the horror mindset, and yeah, like she's incapacitated enough that like she's not doing it on purpose. She has no choice. Like she's part of that hive mind.
She's trying to like flick this lighter because she fills the whole hull with like gasoline. She kicks all the gasoline truck tanks over. Fucking lights them on fire. Grenades and blows them all to fucking hell.
Yeah, so and we see Joel and Ellie escape and they're back on their journey, and that was pretty much the end of the episode. But man, I cannot wait for episode 3. I know it's tomorrow, but like everybody's saying this episode's amazing, and having played the game, obviously I kind of have an idea of what this episode could include, and some really cool shit that I think people are gonna be really stoked to see.
Fuck yeah, man.
So I love this show. I think it's so fucking well done. It's just, I wish everything was this good.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I was actually wondering this too, Marcus. Marcus said, do animals get infected in the show and the game? They have. I don't think they've shown it in the show, but do animals get infected, or is that like a...
No. So the problem, the difference so far in the show and the game is, in the game you're dealing with a lot more human element too, of not just infected people, but people that are out to like scavenge and kill you as well. So a lot of them use dogs as like a hunting mechanism of like using their sight and smell to find like people that are intruding in their territory, or if there's like infected or anything in the area. So you do fucking shoot a lot of dogs, at least in the second game. I don't remember as much in the first game. And horses are involved in the show. That will be coming. not
a horse clicker.
Not a horse clicker, but they do use the horses as a way of getting around. So
that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. I wonder what the thing is that makes the animals impervious to it.
So I was watching. I was going to send it to you, and I forgot. But the actual clip from National Geographic, David Attenborough talking about the actual cordyceps virus that infects ants, and it's like a 4-minute clip you can find on YouTube. But the actual cordyceps like spore is purposely sent out for a specific type of insect. So there's different types of cordyceps for every type of insect. So yeah, it's for different species. So like they attack ants, but there's a different type that will attack like caterpillars or like other types of insects. And then in the end, you'll see like their dead little like ant carcasses and shit with like mushrooms sprouting out of their face and stuff. Like it's fucked up. Yes. Any animal with that mushroom head and the fibrous mouth is horrifying. It's fucking terrifying. I hate it. So yeah, like if you go watch that clip, you can see like caterpillars and ants and like a couple other things that have like their carcass with mushrooms sprouting out of it, and like it's like horrifyingly beautiful. Like it's nature, so it's beautiful, but it's like, oh god, this is a dead animal, or in this case, dead humans. Yeah. I can't wait for tomorrow. I love a show so much. Me too.
I'm excited. I freaking love it. As soon as I finished, I messaged Ryan. I was like, that's just fucking amazing. Holy shit.
Yeah. I'm so glad you like it. It's awesome. So
yeah,
I can't wait. I can't wait for next week to talk about it again with you. And this is what TV has become, and man, like fucking top notch, man. Yeah.
Marcus, you said what's scary is the possibility of what evolution can do down the line. Totally
evolution
true.
And global warming, man. It's scary, scary world.
Yep.
And we as humans,
potential to be even scarier.
Yeah, and we just don't give a fuck. We just go on with our lives, man.
Just live our lives,
Yeah. I fucking love the show. I'm so excited.
I also fucking love the show.
And we haven't mentioned this yet. It got picked up for a second season. So
that's right. How exciting!
Very exciting, and it looks. I mean, me knowing the game and from what they've kind of said, it seems like they're going to break the second game into multiple seasons. So
interesting.
The second game's way longer, and there's a couple different storylines within that game that it would be very hard to do justice to, like a 9-episode season. Like it's just it wouldn't be able to be done. So I assume it's going to be season 2 and season 3 will be the second game.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I dig it.
Really, really good, man.
And awesome. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'm honestly like, I'm glad I'm digging it, and I'm glad it's hitting home. Like I'm actually excited to watch tomorrow. Like I'm gonna make an effort to watch it. I don't know if I'll get a chance to watch it tomorrow night, but I'm gonna make an effort to. What time is it? It doesn't start until 9, right? Like I can't get in 9 Eastern or Pacific.
9 Eastern, I think.
9 Eastern. Okay, so 6. So yeah, I might try to watch it tomorrow night. The thing is if I put it on in the main room, Kate's gonna be like, nope.
Yeah. Well, I'll just wait till she goes to bed and throw it on. You know.
True.
Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, man, fucking crushing it.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah. So that's it. That's it for this episode. I mean, unless you got more you want to talk about.
No, not really. I've been thinking about. Do you know if there's anywhere that streams South Park? Any Canadian?
I think it's on Crave.
Excellent. I've been considering rewatching South Park from season 5 to like, I don't know, 15 or 16.
I haven't seen the most recent season or 2.
No, I stopped a while ago. I just don't. They're just not as good to me anymore. They kind of lost me with the Integrity Farm stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's stuff that I thought was funny, but it's just not what it was. Just I don't know.
I miss the. I mean, they really pushed Randy that last season with Integrity Farm shit. And like, I love Randy, but like, I really miss when it was like the kids doing kid shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've ever gotten back to that. Like I said, I haven't seen the most recent couple, I think season or 2, but that's when the show like hit its stride for me, was like the kids playing World of Warcraft and like, you know, fucking just like
the Lord of the Rings one. Remember
bringing back the movie and like, just like that's what the video game was so good at, right? Is like
Backdoor Sluts 9.
It's great.
Backdoor Sluts 9. That's the raunchiest porno ever.
Yeah, like I maybe it's just because like they've aged and like they want to do more like adult, like their age bracket type things with Randy and stuff like that. I don't know, but
Randy's a fun character, but it's just like totally. The fun part about him is that he's a dumbass, and like he doesn't have to like be the main point of the story. You could just use him to move certain points of the story along, right? It's like
yeah.
Just gonna get that episode where where the Pope, or not the Pope, the statue of Mary period bloods on him or whatever, like, or spits blood.
Yeah. My favorite Randy episode by far is when he gets cancer.
Oh my god, that's such a funny episode.
Just gonna get a little bit of cancer, Stan. Just tell Mama not to worry.
Isn't that where he carries his balls around in a wheelbarrow because they're so huge?
He to get medicinal marijuana, he gets ball cancer.
He puts his balls in the microwave, doesn't he?
And then he hops around on them like hippity hops.
That's right. Yes. That's a great episode. Man, that's the thing is, like, I remember them all like loosely. Like, I've seen so many of them so many times.
Yeah.
But I've been considering kind of going back and
you should
like try. Yeah. Just because, again, like, I don't have to fully commit to them, right? I can just keep them on in the background. So I'm gonna probably watch a little bit more Simpsons because I am really enjoying those right now.
I always mean to go back to Simpsons, but like, I don't know. There's so many bad seasons on that show.
I'm in the mood for Simpsons right now because Toying Around just reviewed the Super 7 Simpsons figures. They made like 6-inch figures. Nice. So they made, the first series is Homer in his astronaut suit with the ruffles and the chips.
Yep.
Mo, Smoochie. No, not Smoochie. Smoochie's the dog, right?
The dog,
yeah. Smoochie and Krusty.
Nice.
So I'm considering actually getting Krusty because he looks pretty fucking good.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I just don't know where to I could just put them at work, I guess. The thing is that they only come out like, probably like 8 or 10 a year, and it seems like they're going deep in the line. Like that was the first wave, so they didn't even have any regular costumes of the main characters. It was, I guess Krusty's probably the closest thing. So Hoochie, yeah, maybe it is Hoochie.
I think it's remember. Poochie, isn't it?
I don't remember. Jordan from Canada says South Park at first glance is so silly and shocking, but they had some really thoughtful and great commentary on society too. That was when it was great to me. It was like, I mean, I loved what Ryan's talking about, where they were like kids. Like that was kind of like season 5 to like 10 or 11, maybe even 12. And then once they got like 12 to like 16, they really started getting more into the social commentaries. And like, I love it. I love it. But say, like season 5, like Scott Tenorman, Coochie.
Yeah, I think it was Coochie. I think you're right.
Yeah, Coochie the dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys don't want, like, I always tell everybody, it sucks for people who think of South Park and think of like the first couple seasons and been like, nah, it's not for me.
Or
because
recent
like, man, or recent seasons. Because like once you hit to like season 5 to 10, man, those are just the gems. Like there's just money in those.
But like anything, I think these shows have gone on way too long. Like,
yes,
I'm sorry, but like Simpsons, I'm sorry. I think they just got picked up for another season. I think they're on like 36 or something like that. It's like, what haven't you done at this point? You've done everything. 10 years ago, you were out of ideas. Why is this show still going on? Like, I understand it's a moneymaker and whatever, but like, we don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
South Park's the same way. It's like, you're 25 seasons in. We don't need anymore, man. You've said everything you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is I don't know, gives them income, and
I would love for them, from the South Park creators, Matt and Trey, to do something different, do something new, another
look what
movie.
They did with Book of Mormon,
right? Book of Mormon, but like,
I fucking love Book of Mormon. You've never seen Book of Mormon, have you?
No, I wish they put out a movie like
it's the best, man. Movie. Seriously, it's so fucking funny.
But like what they did with Team America and shit, right? Like they're very creative and funny guys. I wish they would just do more, like
or basketball.
Yeah, basketball is great.
So funny.
Yeah, so I don't know. I favorite Simpsons episode. Fuck.
It's hard.
I probably would say, I mean, my favorite one for a very long time was one of the Sideshow Bob episodes when he's trying to get them and he steps on all the rakes like 80 times. Yeah, exactly. When he's hanging underneath the car and I think it's Homer, and he's like, let's go through the cactus patch. Everybody say yeah. And it's Bart and Lisa going, yeah. And then you hear
and he's like,
Bob
no.
One. That's always going to be one of my favorite episodes. I just always
Sideshow Bob's funny.
Great episode.
Or that isn't that the one where one of the Sideshow ones is where they have to relocate the Simpsons, right? Isn't that from the Sideshow Bob one where he tries to kill Bart? The Thompsons.
Excellent episode.
That's a good one too.
Flaming Moe's or Mr. Plow?
Flaming Moe's. So my dog's name is Homer, and Kate hates that I call him Homer J because I always say Homer J. But for Christmas, I wanted to get him a custom-made jacket that says Mr. Plow. That says Mr. Plow on it.
That'd be great, man.
Yeah.
I also love when
both good episodes.
Homer makes
shout out to the lemon tree.
When Homer makes that like car with his brother or whatever there.
Oh yeah, that's a funny one too.
I love that episode. Canyonero, I think it's called.
Yeah, I think so.
And they do that like weird ad, Canyonero. It's fucking awesome. I love that episode.
Yeah, there's so many good ones, honestly, man. Like it's one of those things that there's so many of them that a lot of them just blend into me. So it's like it's hard to differentiate ones for me sometimes, but
it's all that like early, like same as South Park, those early like season 4 or 5 or whatever the fuck it is to like 12, 13 is like the strong suit. Yeah. And then here. That's when I stopped watching. Same with Family Guy too. Family Guy, early stuff, awesome. And then it just went off a hill and I was like, all right.
Seasons 1 to 3 for Family Guy are where I'm in. I can kind of get into 4 and then everything beyond that, I'm like, nah, not for me.
Yeah. And now you're seeing all the shit with fucking Rick and Morty. So
yeah, that's crazy. How do you think that's going to fare with them having to recast those revoice those characters?
I mean, as sad as it sounds, and like I understand the situation, and like you have to get rid of them. Yeah. I understand that there's, you know, whatever 50, 100, hundreds of people working on the show that like you don't want their livelihood affected, but that show's over. Like to me, it's like just cancel that fucking show.
I agree. It's not going to sit well either keeping it going too, right? They're characters that were created by this guy, so
I understand like Dan Harmon's a big part of the show as well, and you know, he has a lot of creative input on the show as well, but like the randomness of Rick and Morty is all from him, and Justin Roiland not being a part of that show is definitely going to affect its quality. I don't care what you say, it's definitely going to affect it. Mm-hmm. So I don't want all those people to lose their jobs, and I understand why you want to keep it going, but like to me, it's like just cancel it, man. You've
done curse that thing.
Yeah, that thing is doomed anyway, and fans don't give a fuck about any of that shit. If we've seen anything during these last couple years, it's people will fucking fight about anything.
Yeah,
and everybody's going to shit on the show, and it's going to affect the mental health of all those people working on it anyway. They just put their heart and soul into the show, and that people are going to shit on it online. So it's the same with his game company as well. Like they just put out that new game. I can't think of what it's called right now, but it got huge on Xbox over the holidays. Squanch Games is developer, but he was a big part of that too, and now he's gone out of that. So it's like you may affect that company as well too, and it's sad and it sucks. But like when people do that kind of shit, like I'm sorry, you just got to move on and find another creative output and try something new. You know?
Yeah, I agree. Let it die a slow, painful death, and then it's just. I mean, the thing is like, I guess what do you do? Because at that point, its legacy is tarnished. Just by this one guy, right? So like, you know, like they're kind of in between. Like, there's not like they can drive it into the ground much deeper than that. That's like pretty much as deep as it goes, right? When you got this creeper dude, like, yeah.
I mean, it's like, listen, like, I think people make mistakes, and I don't think you should fucking end their lives or fucking, you know, abandon them forever. Clearly, like, you know, there's mental health things, and there's, you know, whatever the situation going on, people can be affected by it. And like, I hate the idea of canceling somebody forever just because they've made one mistake in their life, but they don't need to be in the public eye, and they don't need to be on television. And, you know, I understand getting rid of them out of the public eye, but I don't know. I don't know what you do with those people. Like, I wish they could just hop on to another show and find another creative output or another game and just move on, you know?
Yeah.
It definitely affects the legacy of all that shit. So it sucks.
Jordan says, speaking of Rick and Morty, the game This Is the Life is groundbreaking for a comedy action game. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Is it This Is Life? I can't remember what the fuck it's actually called. It might be that. I feel like it had a different name, but regardless, that's the game I was talking about. That game and the South Park games are like two of the funniest games I've ever played. Like,
I love
High on Life. I think it's High on Life.
No, not Book of Destiny. What's it? What's the South Park game? The RPG.
Yeah, that's the game I'm talking about.
That game's so fun.
What the fuck is it called? Fractured Butthole is the second one.
High on Life, he says.
Yeah, High on Life. That's what I thought. It's great. I only played like the first hour and a half of it or 2 hours of it, but it was making me crack up. Nice. I can't remember what the other South Park game is called, but it's excellent. It's very
fun. And especially if you are a fan of South Park, there's so many good deep cut jokes in there. Like,
and it's short. Like for an RPG, it's only like 18, 19 hours, something like that. Like,
it was quick.
I
got through it. That says a lot.
It's not a 100-hour deep dive, you know, so it's perfect.
Yeah, it's not super challenging. It's still fun in the spots where it is challenging, and and it's just funny. It had me fucking dying laughing the whole time. I was fucking cracking up.
Yeah. Highly recommend.
Agreed. Whatever it's called. South Park, the game, something.
Book of Truth?
Oh, that sounds right. You looking it up?
Yeah, I have to, because it's going to drive me insane.
South Park game. Stick of Truth.
Stick of Truth. Thank God. Yeah, that game's awesome.
Yeah, very fun. I dig it.
Yeah, so you're not doing Whip Wednesday this week, right?
No, unfortunately not. I have donuts to make and consume. So Wednesday I will be Wednesday I'll be tied up with
work stuff,
making donuts. So I won't have the time to unfortunately do a live stream. But the week after, on the 8th, I will be back with Dee and Chris from Astonishing News and Reviews. They're going to come on. They're going to do some customizing with me and just shoot the shit. Should be fun. And then the week after that, I will be doing a episode with Brock, who does This Week in Customs, or used to do This Week in Customs. We're going to be doing an episode of This Week in Customs on Whip Wednesday, but unfortunately that one will not be live. We have to pre-record it. His schedule is just a bit too everywhere. And I think it's kind of a good concept to test out this whole pre-recorded thing. I'm still going to do like a live premiere. So it'll still premiere at 9:00. There'll be a chat and all that stuff. So I'll be there to be able to chat with people in the chat. But the actual episode is going to be pre-recorded, unfortunately, just because that's all he can give me. And I'll take what I can get.
Hell yeah. So, yeah. And then next week is our 100th episode. So nothing too crazy planned other than talk about the last.
We'll both be here naked. So get your eyeballs ready.
That was supposed to be a surprise, but okay, fine. Just reveal it to everybody.
We just have party hats on our nips and our head. That's it.
Socks on cocks. That's it. That's the end of this episode. Thanks everybody for coming by in the chat. Come by next Saturday. We will be doing obviously Last of Us episode 3, like I said, and should be a good one. It's supposed to be a barn burner of an episode, so everybody's
barn burner
raving about it. So should be good.
I can't wait.
If you're not already, please follow us on Donald Ducking Butt Topless. Hell yeah. If you're not already, follow us on Instagram at Moose Milk Media, at Customs by Matthew.
Oh, wait, I can do it.
Yeah, pop right up. This is the same handles. You can find our YouTube channels, just youtube.com/ and at Moose Milk Media, at Customs by Matthew.
Handle me, baby.
Subscribe, hit the bell, do all that shit. Also, I'll be streaming on Twitch somewhat regularly now. I'm going to try to keep getting at it. Play a couple hours here and there. Nothing too interesting, but bye, Marcus.
I never imagined Finn sounding like that.
No,
I was thinking of him sounding like Ed from the hyena from Lion King. Like
probably, yeah, that's probably more accurate. Or like really high pitched, like, "Hi, my name's Finnegan." Anyways, thanks everybody for joining us, and if you don't want to watch the video, you can grab the episode on podcast services as well, Spotify,
True story, Apple
Podcasts, all that shit. We appreciate the follows and the subscriptions and the comments and everything, so thank you. He appreciates that. Bye.
Peace out. Bye, guys.